should be live, I think. Still loading for me. Yep, we are live. Hey guys. Goodbye, Dave, Becky, Coach Kathy, Marcy, Gregory, Tiger Lily. Hey guys, Valerie, Blackbird Semen Retention. Thanks for joining us, guys. Appreciate y'all. We got Toni here with me, mysteriously off the screen once again.
Yeah, I'm so shy.
The voice from afar, the mysterious voice in the sky that tells us how to deal with all our health problems. All right, so I didn't really have any introductory things to say. Do you want to just get right into it, Toni, or did you have anything to cover?
Hello everyone. That's the first thing, of course.
Hi.
I'm surprised at a huge stack of questions that we got last minute.
Yeah, there were quite a lot that came in.
Yeah, I just managed to print them all out. Some are long, some are short. I just, however I grabbed them. It was one question was by Jola. The question is, are supplements or herbs needed at any time? Let's just say that supplements are never needed. And with supplements, I'm thinking about, the pills with vitamin C, D3, K2, B12, all that stuff, multivitamins, they are not needed. Are herbs needed? Well, actually, no, they're not needed. If you give your body the right fuel, like the fruits and some of the green veggies, you get what you need. But if you want to tackle some serious health issues, then the herbs definitely assist. And it would be great to use them, but you do need to know what you need to use. And that is where I usually come in and figure that out together. And that is actually the same for children. The question was, if they eat plenty of foods and drink fruit juices, but eat cooked foods, grains, and legumes, do they need additional herbs or supplements? No, not really. I would leave the grains out and limit the cooked foods. What you can do if you feel that they need a little extra with the herbs before, maybe the calcium, that could be nettle, like nettle tea. So that is always, and that is actually something that you can also, if you can get it, add to your green drink. And that helps the regeneration of your body. So it shouldn't always be about detox, but also about regenerating. But the question was, if you really need it, then the answer is no. Does that make sense to you, Justin?
Yes, it does, and it's just reaffirms that we can fix anything just by going to the fruit, just raw fruit, and if you stay with it long enough, you can really correct anything. Certain herbs can be helpful to kind of rebalance things, since we're coming from such a level of toxicity and consuming otherwise. Sometimes people might could utilize a little extra boost to come back to balance, but overall the fruit is going to be the way to go, and nothing made in a lab is helpful for us. If it doesn't grow out of the ground and you don't pick it right out of the ground, then it's not for us.
There are always a lot of questions about, well, the depleted soil. There's a lot of concern about that. We don't get the nutrition because the soil is depleted. And a very wise man once told me, it's like, think about this. If you have a completely depleted soil, and so it wouldn't get any nutrients, do you really think that tree would grow? Do you think that when the tree does grow, it would actually have fruits? The answer is no, of course not. It wouldn't grow. So what happens, what these trees do, they just dig deeper. And I thought that was a perfect explanation.
That's a really good point. It's really helpful to visualize, because they wouldn't be able to grow without it.
Okay, there was a question about information about the citrus juice by Amy. I don't know. I think I also answered you personally. What I actually use is the most simple electric, I'm lazy, electric citrus press. That cost me about $20. I think they last about with the amount of citrus that I use. They last a year, maybe a year and a half, but I'm okay with that. I just buy the same one and buy a new one. For $20, you can't go wrong. So all these big commercial juices, it's like, no, that's too much work cleaning up. And this one is just very, very easy to clean up. And I do like 6 big navel oranges and some grapefruits in a day for myself. And it takes me, 5 minutes to use it and clean it. So that's what I would do. And you can buy these things pretty much everywhere.
Yeah, I had one of those eggs and I left it in Houston, but I'm going to be getting it back at some point. But they are super simple. You know, you just press the orange on the citrus on top of it, and it spins for you and gets all the juice out.
Yeah, I remember when Colleen didn't have one, and she really wanted to get one. It was like, it's a big difference because it makes things a lot easier, a lot easier. Another question is about kidney stones, and it happens a lot. And the only way to get rid of them is actually the same as what you have to do for everything: change your diet. You know, we have herbs that can you assist with this. You can start drinking more lemon water, so the kidney stones will soften and easier come out. But you have to address the other things in your body. You have to address the parathyroid. So there is more to it. So I'm not sure, but the name is Rui, R-U-Y. Not sure if I already sent you a message, but I would love to talk to you about that. And that is the same as with the question about incontinence. That actually goes hand in hand with your kidney problems. So we need to address some other things in your body and go with there. But it's always diet always comes first.
Yep. Yeah, we got to address the root cause first. You can't just fix the
Yeah,
issue.
We don't treat. It's like, you know, okay, I have kidney stones. I need to treat the kidney stones. Of course, there are things that will help, like the lemon water. But there's a reason why you got the kidney stones. And there is a reason that people get incontinent. And that's, you know, we don't, there's no medication for that. And I read that some people are taking medication for it, but it only gives more side effects. So yes, there is a way to wean off the medication with the diet. So if you're ready to change your diet, then I'm here to assist with that.
Yeah, that's one thing that's wonderful about this community is there's a lot of support there for people who are looking to shift. So don't hesitate to reach out.
I'm gonna put one long one at the side for a minute.
Yeah, and just a note on the longer questions. If y'all could please try and keep your questions brief. It's really helpful to just get straight. You know, I understand that sometimes there needs to be a little bit more context, but try and limit the context as much as possible so that we can get to the question. It really just helps save a lot of time so that we can prioritize that and get to as many questions as possible. That would be
but I do promise that I will, with the longer questions, I will get back with these people in the email, and then we go from there. Mm-hmm. So I won't, I just won't let it, I'm not going to let anyone down. That's it.
Right. Yeah, you don't.
Okay, another question is about blood in his stool. And I would need to have more information about that. It can happen. There is, she was asking me about Dr. Morse's bleeding formula. There is more to it, but again, you go to what caused it. And one thing that is important with healing, it's not just, you change the diet, but you also have to address, what's going on in your GI tract. And we have so much junk in there. So you really start with a colon cleanse, and there are other formulas for that, and often it can happen because the liver needs to be addressed. So again, there are more questions than I can give you an answer to. One question is, would you use an alcohol tincture before you use the glycerin? It's like, yeah, you can use either or. An alcohol tincture is a little stronger. I remember the first time that I used that, and I put my 10 tinctures in a glass of water, and I don't drink. I've never been drunk in my life. Well, the alcohol in these tinctures did it for me. I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, a lot more sensitive.
It was, but you can easily, if you have alcohol tinctures, you can easily burn it off. You put it in a little hot tea, and it will evaporate. But it seems to be a little stronger than the glycerin. So definitely. So this is, I will connect with this person, with Kathleen, and go from there. This is a long one too, so I get to that one later. Here is somebody who gave up all the bad things: alcohol, smoking, meat, dairy, pornography, and coffee, and have done juice feast, the longest day, 8 days, have passed a lot of waste and worms. That's great. When I went to raw, my go-to meal at night was an avocado with a few cloves of raw garlic. Okay. And now I'm raw except for hummus. Yeah, that is so hard to stay away from. I love hummus.
I found a pretty good recipe using zucchini instead of
Yeah.
chickpeas. And it tastes
Yeah,
very
so then
similar.
you don't have it cooked, but you still have, and it's definitely better than have the cooked beans. And it tastes great, but you still, when you detox, don't do it, because you still have the what is the sesame seeds, which are very high in fat and proteins.
Right.
But they are very delicious, and they are absolutely, you can eat them when you're not detoxing. It's but it's pretty good with you, and I have tried raw sprouted beans, but it doesn't taste the same.
Yeah, it's a little bit more chunky.
Yeah, and the zucchini, oh my gosh, you can do so many things with zucchini. It's such an easy well, herb, or no, it's not an herb, a veggie fruit to use. You can do so many things with it. I use it for salad dressings.
It's a good base.
Yeah, it is. Explain the downsides of garlic. Well, garlic is oh, what is that called?
Poison.
I'm sorry?
It's poison.
Yeah, it is, and it causes, it's not I'm looking for a word. You can see it in the eyes. If you have like the orangey in the iris.
Oh, the sulfur?
Sulfur, that's the word. That is the word. Yeah. It creates too much sulfur in the body, and you need to get that out. So I would stop eating the garlic. Energy is low, sleeping a lot. Yeah, you go through that part, but I think when you start on all of the fruit, you seem to be. This is actually Tyler. You seem to be well on your way, and doing pretty good. So I would try to cut out the garlic and maybe some of the hummus for now, and see how you feel if it starts changing. He's going to do another juice week next week. So there you go.
Yeah, I'm starting another one tomorrow. I'm going to do one until the solstice. So for about 2 weeks.
Yeah, I was going to ask you guys about the solstice. I hear, because we always celebrated that because my daughter was in a Rudolf Steiner school in the Netherlands. And that was all the big feast or fest of the year. And we were always outside and creating things and making delicious, God, I don't know what these are, these little black berries tiny, tiny berries, and there are a lot on them on one. Yeah, one. Okay, I forgot the
Elderberries?
English words, huh?
Elderberries?
Could be. They're tiny ones. Yeah. And we put them in like what a pancake mix that we made ourselves, and then we made pancakes with that. So that was our parties outside in a park with all the kids from the school. But then I hear all these negative things about what the summer solstice is, and I got a little confused. And I was going to ask you or Charlie, like, explain to me the summer solstice.
Well, it's just that the solstice and equinoxes are just transitioning through the fourfold nature of man. So you've got spring into summer. So you're just transitioning through that process, and the solstice is that that peak. That's what Charlie references as the mountaintop, because that's I can't remember exactly what the details around it, but it just in general, it's good to honor the solstice and equinoxes, because they're, we're bound to this clock, this astrological clock, and it's good to notice when these things are happening, because it very much affects our circadian rhythm and things that happen. So when you shift from winter to spring in March, that's where like rebirth and new life, and that's Passover. So that's when death passes you over if you've been penitent and alkaline. And then from spring to summer, I can't remember the specifics to it, but I always try and I've adopted since I've got on this path a way of always honoring those time periods and just trying to be clean, as clean as possible during those. So I think fasting is a great way, even just a couple days on juice, just to help kind of like reset the system, and then you're preparing yourself to receive the astrological energies that emit as this time transitions. So that's my plan, and I know that a lot of people recommend starting fasting on new moons. So we have a new moon tomorrow. So I was planning on starting a juice feast tomorrow for the new moon, and then just continuing that until the solstice, and maybe finishing off with a 3-day water fast at the solstice. So it's kind of just playing around with it and seeing how it feels, but it feels like right thing to do to me.
It sounds like a perfect plan. But I started hearing things about, oh, it's all witches stuff, and
No, I mean that.
like it always felt good to me.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Nothing is evil. Everything is of God, and it can be twisted and turned around. And so that's what we have to get back to, is reclaiming all of these dates and times and symbols and all these things that the cabal and these forces of darkness have twisted and inverted and spun against us. But they're ours. They're God's, and so the solstice is very, very sacred. It's for us to reclaim. But I'm sure there are some satanic rituals that happen on those days as well, and so we just kind of have to poo-poo that and get back to how it should be.
Yeah, I was happy that I actually learned about Rudolf Steiner, because it has a lot of these things. So that is what my daughter went from, she was 4 until 16. It's interesting that he managed to have his schools. I don't know how much you know about Rudolf Steiner, but that he actually has its schools all over the world.
Oh, cool.
And here in
I don't know a whole lot about him.
Oh, okay. Here in the United States, they are called Waldorf School.
Okay. No idea. I've heard of the Waldorf.
Yeah, no idea where that name came from, because in Holland, it's just Rudolf Steiner School or Steiner Schools. Okay, a question from Patty about juicing and eating raw since December, and her bread has been off. The suggestion, what is the suggestion? And that is clean the intestinal tract. That is where it comes from. And make sure to that your mouth is alkaline and not acidic. They have these really simple pH strips, and you can easily test it. It has to be slightly alkaline. Can you add anything to that, Justin?
No, not really.
Okay.
extra.
Question from Kathy about you and having an alkaline machine, not having used it, if it was worth keeping it in Texas. The gut says I only need alkaline nourishment and my heart says to give it away. I don't think you need it. It's the problem with making water alkaline in such a way, it's like that it can easily be too alkaline. Your body doesn't like it. Your alkalinity needs to come from something natural. You have all these machines there that make it alkaline, and then you have people that stay on a bad diet. I'm not saying you do that, Kathy, but a lot of people do. And they think when they have an alkaline water or buy alkaline water, then that will do the trick. And it's not happening. It will never happen. You only make yourself sick. You really need the alkalinity from alkaline food. That makes sense?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of see the alkaline water as a gimmick. They're often quite expensive to get the machines that do it, and just like Toni said, it's not even about eating or consuming things that are alkaline in nature. It's about what the effect on the body is. Like lemon juice, for example, is extremely acidic, but when we drink lemon juice, it actually has an alkaline effect on the body. So there's this misconception that drinking alkaline things is going to make us alkaline, but what it really does is it kind of interferes with the I see it as interfering with the digestive system a little bit and introducing these things, and it's taking away from the purpose of what water really is, which is a flushing material. It's supposed to be pure, so that's why distilled is best, because it's supposed to pull excess minerals and things that have accumulated in different places to help draw them out of the body. And if it's alkaline or if it has other things added to it, it's not in that pure state, so it can't do that function nearly as well. So distilled is much better, in my humble opinion.
It's interesting that you say it's kind of a gimmick, because we keep having all these things that pop up and should help us with our health, and it's actually so unbelievable simple. Right. Eat fruits, eat the right, put the right fuel in your body, and you will do well. And not worry too much if something is, if you can't get organic, then wash it better. If you can't get seeded fruits like grapes or watermelons, and they have become rare, well, then just eat them without any seeds. It's still good. They're still pulling. They still help you heal and help you be healthy, stay healthy.
Right. Still better than anything else that you can consume. And yeah, and just on the note of alkaline water or any of these things that kind of pop up, and because that's a big that was very mainstream. It still is very mainstream to talk about this alkaline water and how it's, anytime you have this mainstream point of view pushed on something health related, you should take a pause. That should automatically be a red flag. Like the whole celery juice thing, like that was so all over mainstream, and it's not good for us to do the celery juice thing all the time. So just whenever there are these health fads that pop up and it's advertised anywhere within celebrities or the mainstream media, anywhere like that, like you should probably look the other way. You should probably really look into it and not take it at face value, because it's always trying to tell you something or inadvertently get you to poison yourself some way or another.
Yeah, it's a big red flag. That is like the protein powder craze. It's like unbelievable. Anything that's being pushed, it's like, don't do it. That means you don't need it. There is a question that I get a lot, and it's about hair loss. And oh my gosh, do I wish it was easy, and it's not. There are several reasons you can have hair loss. It can be stagnated lymph. You can get it even before you start healing. You can get it when you start. It happened to me when I started all raw and mostly fruit. But then I had my eyes read before I could do that myself, and I was told that I had severe stagnated lymph. So I just my health just had gotten to a point that I needed a huge change in changing my diet and how I was doing things, and I already started, losing hair, and that was very worrisome. Now I understand what it is, and I don't worry about it. It will come back when I'm healed, or when I start healing more. It's yeah. I've known people that were, well, they were my age and even younger, that lost all their hair, and their hair came back thicker, nicer, and the old color instead of grayish. I thought that was pretty interesting too. So, is there a cure for? Yeah, that's just what he asked, by eating the right food. Do you have to do fasting? Fasting always helps. Fasting always helps with healing. But the thing is, it's not an overnight solution. It'll take time. And if it takes years, then it takes years. As long as that you're doing the right thing with the right food, the right water, you do the other things to not be stressed, and doing just the right thing. Do the fasting, do whatever you need to do, and you will see that you will get better, and that includes that your hair can grow better. Now, I do have to say, my husband has been bald for I don't know how long, a long, long time. And he had stagnated lymph in the head. So we keep looking at, like, is it coming back yet? But it's yeah, don't worry about it. It's we all wish that we would keep our hair for a long time, but with all the foods that we've been eating, it's just not happening. But when we put in all the right foods, it will change. So don't worry about it. Just do what needs to be done.
Yep, yep. And literally anything can be reverted, but it does take time. We've got to consider that we've had a lifetime of adding toxins to our body.
Yeah. We do even for myself, I do realize it's a journey, and you don't need to run. It's just take time. But my gosh, do I sometimes wish there was a magic pill? Although I think the journey wouldn't be as much fun, though.
No, it wouldn't. We asked for these challenges. We asked for it to be kind of difficult.
Yeah, and we're learning so much. It's I actually enjoy it, and I learn to, when I get detox symptoms, to embrace it. Like, hey, something is happening. But that only is when I know I do the right thing, then I can embrace them. If I mess up, then it's like, okay, go back to your fruits. A question about menopause and high blood pressure, low thyroid, hot flashes, forgetfulness, weight gain, fatigue. And it is, it's again to go to the right foods. Crave savory flavors. Well, that shows you have a weak adrenals, but with all the stress in life, we pretty much all have that. But Carla, you are actually well on your way to healing because you don't eat meat, eggs, or dairy. I am curious, though, what you are eating. I think we have to ask people when they ask a question, what's your diet now? Because that's always my question in the groups too. It's like, okay, what is your diet now? Because that can actually pinpoint why you have these problems. And yeah, so I do have actually more questions for you. So I would love to connect with you, and we can further talk about that. There's not one, the one answer to everything is change the diet, but there's always a little bit more to it. It's whatever herbs that can help you when you change your diet. And another thing is that a lot of people, they feel tired, and they feel that they need to exercise. And Carla owns a gym, and so I can see that you definitely want to have your energy. But when you start healing, your energy goes to that, goes to healing your body. So when you're tired and you feel that you need more sleep, then that is what your body needs, and we just have to listen to that. There's no magic, no way around it. That's just what your body tells you what you need. I hope that makes sense. Can you add anything to that?
Well, I think it's just in general, we've got to be taking responsibility for everything in regards to health, and that's why cleaning up the diet allows you to feel things a little bit more clearly. But even prior to you just listening to your body and doing what needs to happen, it's going to tell you, it's always telling us what it needs, but a lot of times we're just not listening to it, and we can't hear it because we've got so many layers of things that we consume on a regular basis that make it difficult to pinpoint what it is that I need to do. But yeah, sleep is a pretty apparent one. If you're still having trouble with cutting coffee because you're tired all the time, well, then you need to sleep more. You need to sleep more until you get to that state where you don't feel that tiredness, and that's going to help with that sort of thing, just as an example. But yeah, I would just echo that we just need to be listening to our body and truly being our own expert, not relying on anyone else to tell us how we should and shouldn't be, but to listen to how we feel and go with that.
The next question comes from Duncan in Ayanapa. I have no idea where that is. And it is about bentonite clay. And I know so many people are using that to clean out their GI tract. The problem with bentonite clay, and it absolutely does work, but you tend to take too much and drink too little. The problem that is happening then, it gets stuck because it is I forgot the word again. It's a bulk agent. That is what I was going to say. Yeah. So it bulks up, and if you don't drink enough water, then it will stay there. And it probably, when you are doing all fruit, you can get things going again. It, of course, eventually it comes out, but that can be a real problem. He is asking about Dr. Morse's drink that has the God, I have it here, GI Broom. And he asked what kind of herbs are in there. And I can tell you that right away. One is Psyllium husk powder, which is also a bulk agent. It is chickweed herb, Cascara sagrada bark, plantain leaf, slippery elm bark. That is one, Duncan, that you should start taking now to get things going again. Then white oak bark, Irish moss, bayberry roots, melon leaf, bentonite clay, activated charcoal, ginger root, aloe vera, the 100-to-1, cinnamon, and acerola cherry powder. So bentonite clay is one of the last ingredients, so it doesn't have much in it, but it is all the other herbs together that make sure that things don't get stuck in your colon. And even with this one, it is said you do not eat anything 2 hours before you start the GI Broom, or 2 hours after it. And you have to do it with a big glass of water. And that's how it works. So I wouldn't do just the bentonite clay, although it is promoted heavily everywhere, because it will cause problems.
You say drink with water. Do you think people could do it with juice as well? Would that be?
No, you have to do it with water. Water is what your GI tract needs to flush it out.
Okay.
And not the juice. And you wouldn't have any benefit from the juice because it takes it all right out.
Right.
And now I get to the long ones. Oh, this was double. I already had that one. Okay. Well, you can talk while I'm reading, Justin.
Okay. Oh, I can. See any questions in the chat. See here. What are your thoughts on soursop? I've never had, I don't think I've had soursop before. It's like a, I mean, it's a fruit, so I'd say it's good if it's fruit. But I've never had it, so I don't know for sure. People are asking about putting salts in the garden. Yeah, I've never experimented with cell salts, but I do know that people recommend Himalayan or sea salt and Epsom salt, making a mixture of that with water and potentially even adding apple juice or cucumber juice to that mixture as well, and using that to fertilize the plants. They love it. They absolutely love it. Um, Gives them all those minerals, and it just kind of goes to show that salts aren't really for us, but they do have those inorganic minerals for the plants. Okay, sorry, Ichabod. Let me shift the fan so it's not blowing. Elias, you're gonna have to be a little bit more specific than cracking heels. I mean, that sounds like dehydration to me, if your skin is cracking. So I would just uptake your fruit and your fruit juice. That's the most hydrating thing we can put into our body is fruit, because it's got that activated distilled water in it, and that's really gonna help get you hydrated again. So if you got cracked skin anywhere, that's usually that would be my take, at least, is dehydration. Virtuous Unicorns ask if we can talk about bananas. So bananas are it's all a spectrum, and that's what I always remind people when people ask if they can eat something or can't eat something. And it's like, what is your goal, and how high do you want to go? So bananas, compared to pretty much all other fruits, I mean, I would say they're on the lower end of the spectrum as far as how high they elevate us, because they have very little water content. They're very starchy. So when we consume them, we do get bogged down quite a bit. But comparing bananas to potatoes, for example, bananas are going to be miles better because they're still a fruit. So it's all about what you're going for. If you're eating bananas on a regular basis, I would limit it. They're a great treat to make ice cream with, and very versatile. And if you do eat bananas, make sure you let them ripen all the way, which means like pretty much like almost completely brown. You want to have very, like, just a little bit of yellow. That's what I usually do, is just a tiny bit of yellow left and mostly brown. And that means the fruit is ripened enough to where the sugars, it's converted mostly to sugars, and less of the starch remains. Brother Bear asks, if I was going to fast one day a week, would you suggest Saturday, the Sabbath? Absolutely. Yeah, the Sabbath is the perfect day to fast. That's the day of rest. So give your digestive system a rest. And that's fantastic. Elias says, yeah, so if your heels are, yeah, if you're on all fruit, then that just means you're detoxing. So just keep at it. That's the thing, is we just have to trust that if we're on fruit, we are healing, and it can take a long time, but there's nothing we can do to hurt ourselves on fruit. It's healing something. So anything that we're experiencing, any symptoms that we have, nothing's going to be life-threatening. Nothing is going to be harming us. It might be uncomfortable, because detox is not a comfortable thing to go through, but you just consider how you're just accelerating your healing process, and sometimes that can be uncomfortable. Christine asks, what's the hummus recipe with zucchini? I don't know it offhand. I would just look up raw zucchini hummus, and you can find a bunch of recipes. A lot of them suggest using olive oil and garlic, so I would avoid both of those things. Don't use concentrated oils, and don't use garlic. But you can, if for a milder kind of garlicky taste, you can add chives, which is not the best thing for us to consume, but in the spectrum of alums, that's the mildest form of them, so it can still provide that kind of flavor to them. So I use chives whenever I make it, and I think I've done avocado, like a half an avocado in there for that kind of like oily fat texture. You don't necessarily need that. And then if you're, yeah, and like Tony said, if you're detoxing, it's not going to be the best thing to eat sunflower seeds or tahini. But if you're not in small amounts, it's okay to consume. So it just depends on how raw you want or how light you want to keep it. You could, and then cumin. Cumin is important. Cumin and a little paprika is what I add to it as well. Those are, the cumin is the most important spice to add to it to get that hummusy kind of flavor. So you could probably just do zucchini and cumin and blend that up together, and that would make a pretty decent hummus if you wanted to be super super pure with it. But and maybe a little bit of lemon juice as well would be good.
And maybe a little dulse.
Yeah, dulse for a little saltiness. Yeah, would be great. Yeah, Tony,
Well,
what do you think about cocoa aminos? I know a lot of people use that as a salt replacement as well.
yeah, I do too, and I'm not sure about it.
Yeah.
I use it's actually called the teriyaki coconut aminos, and I'm like, okay, if I want something in that area, then they are okay, but they're not part of a detox.
Right.
That's just a detox. You want to detox and heal, it's fruits, period.
Right. Yeah.
You want to use it in your regular diet when you are all raw, of course, then you even eat a little seeds and nuts, but I would never advise that for a detox. But my gosh, the coconut aminos, I think they're delicious.
They are.
I actually, if I really, really needed something that was a little salty, I had hot water, a little coconut aminos, and dulse. And I was good for the rest of the day.
Nice. Yeah, just a little sip on that.
Yeah, and that brings me to that long email from Gary. Gary, I absolutely love you. I love your email. I want to talk to you someday. But what it came to is cravings. And you started with your juice feast recently. All the delicious stuff: the watermelon, cantaloupe, papaya, orange, young coconut water, tamarind, and but still won't have the meaty cravings. The advice is clean out your colon. You probably have parasites. So that's the first step that you do, and then go from there. And keep going what you're doing, because for somebody who loves all the things that you that you were talking about, and seeing that you have an addictive personality, I don't think so. You just love life, love life, and everything that was in front of you. I mean, so many of us were the same. To say that you have to have it. I mean, it's amazing what you've been doing, that you already stopped your the alcohol, the eggs, and the cheese while you had chickens and turkeys. It's you're doing great. You're absolutely doing great. But yeah, don't go back to that buttery, cheesy jacket potato. You don't want to eat white potatoes. Yeah, you're really fun. Definitely, we have Dr. Morse has two parasites. One is a generic that you should always have a good parasite cleanse. And I'm not saying Dr. Morse's is the only ones. There are other ones. This one just works. And another one that we're using is for the microorganisms, candida, mold, all those little things. So
but if you're truly alkaline, parasites can't really live in you.
True, but it takes a little longer.
Yeah.
And before you're truly alkaline, we are years away from that. And I've been looking at your eyes, Justin. And are your eyes a little green, on the green side?
Yeah, they are on the greener side. So I know the discussion around that is that there's still sulfur to
No, you have blue eyes. You have real blue eyes.
How beautiful. Yeah,
and
that's exciting
so
to
if
get to
you
that point.
in say 2 years from now and you stay on the all fruit, your eyes will be blue.
Cool. I can dig that. I
And
think that'll be.
and if they're not, you've been cheating.
Yeah, so that the things that would prevent that from happening would be the sulfurous foods, right? Like the
Yes.
garlics and
Yeah.
the broccoli and the cauliflower and
It
that
will
kind of stuff.
all, yeah, it's all the food, all the meat, the dairy,
Right, that too.
everything that we had.
I will not be cheating with that kind of stuff, but
No,
I meant cheating as in like within the raw food world, you know, like I don't really eat broccoli. I mean I have, but I don't really eat much
no,
anymore
but
or cauliflower.
I don't think that that would be a problem, and especially, but getting healthy, and we've seen it in quite a few people where the eyes change, and you can see that the whites, if you have whites in your eyes, you have stagnated lymph.
Hmm.
And when you have that, then the next step is, well, you have to make sure that your kidneys are filtering and then go from there. And that will happen when you are on all fruit. But I know being on all fruit, it's not easy.
Yeah, it takes some getting used to, especially when it, I think when we get to that ideal state and it's just growing all around us and getting anything besides fruit requires leaving the Garden of Eden. But when we just have it there to pick from the tree, I think it'll be a much easier choice to our laziness will help will help keep us on the fruit because it's just right there.
Yeah, I have a tiny, I could really say tiny yard. So most of my things are in pots.
Hmm.
And I just bought a mango tree, and I wanted to have an orange tree. And I asked him, "Yeah, okay, how long will it take before it has any of these beautiful navel oranges?" He said about 14 months. And I was, okay, I can live with that. And how many fruits would it have? Oh, the first years, at least enough for the season, at least six. And I was like, six? That's what I used just by myself in one
Yeah,
day. That's not going to happen.
yeah, that's a smoothie.
Yeah, but I have, I now have like berries and cherries, and they have. I picked one little blueberry. That was the only one. Maybe the birds got the rest. I don't know. I have a what is it called? Strawberry tree. I had never heard of it. It's getting rather big, and it has these tiny red berries on it, and it gave me three berries. And they're small, and they actually taste like a strawberry. Now you could
Oh,
say, well, that's not really an original fruit. I don't know. I just like the idea. So, and I have a fig with two
nice,
fruits on it. Probably takes another 4 months before they're edible.
nice.
And I have a tiny pineapple, and I just grew that from a store-bought pineapple.
Wow,
So
that's amazing.
you can all do it. And I did the first half year. I wasn't treating that piece of pineapple very very good, but I put it in a pot now, and it started to become green, and now I
Mm,
actually have fruit coming out of it. So, it can be done, and it brings you closer to nature, even if you only have, a small lot where you can put a few things on. It's fun. It actually, and it helps the stress level. It helps you healing, appreciating nature, seeing what it can do for you. So I enjoy it.
yeah, that's a great point. So there are things no matter where we are, even if you live in an apartment, you can grow fruit and at least experiment with it. You won't be able to sustain yourself on that, but you'd have that relationship, as Tony said, which I think is so vital. And so yeah, and anywhere we are, we can always get started.
I don't have any more questions. Do you?
Oh no, okay, no, I don't have any more. We can if y'all want to post any more questions in the chat, we've got about 9 more minutes. We can address any in there. Just scrolling back up. Any questions, guys?
I wonder if people are aware of how many fruits or raw foods there are actually to eat that helps us being healthy. I so often hear that I don't know what to eat, and I have a list here of all the fruits that are there. I think
Hmm.
there are about 25 different fruits on it. Now, I don't say that everything is easily available, but when you're in a grocery store, look at all the stuff that is out there. I mean, in the produce, the organic, preferably organic produce parts,
Hmm.
and how much is actually there, and try it out. And sometimes do look at the non-organic stuff, because there are a lot of different things. I'm seeing here durians. I never had. Did you ever have a durian?
No, but I want to. I've heard such amazing things about
It
them.
is
I know
high fat. I do know that.
it is high fat. You don't want to be having a full diet from that, but as a treat, as like a dessert, they're apparently just like a decadent dessert.
Yeah.
So I definitely want to try growing that here.
Oh, and I also bought a dragon fruit.
Oh,
Now,
nice.
I
I
do
love
have
dragon
to
fruit.
admit that the only good dragon fruit I ever had was from freeze dried. So that is
Mm.
why I knew what taste it does. Because when I went, even the organic ones, when I went to the grocery store and got a few, they had no taste.
Well, you want to get the yellow ones. If they're red, they have very little taste. I don't particularly like the red one or
Well,
purpley
darn, I just
ones.
I just bought a red one.
Oh no. Yeah, the yellow ones are the sweet ones. Um,
Well, he told me they were both sweet and I could pick. So I
mm,
picked the red one.
no, the yellow ones are much sweeter.
Okay.
So Amy asks, what if your eyes are brown? What does that mean? So my understanding, and Tony, correct me if I'm wrong, is that the true eye colors are brown and blue.
Yep.
So brown is a good color indication in the eyes, so that
Yeah,
they're
you
your
can
natural color.
if you look at your eyes and you don't see at the outer end, you don't see any lighter color, then you have true brown eyes.
Hmm,
And usually hazel eyes are often blue eyes.
hmm. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, my eyes have kind of transitioned from hazily brown to green, so I'm sure it's just different levels of health that I've been in my life.
And we
Uh,
sometimes see people that have such beautiful, we call it beautiful, beautiful eyes. And then when you studied iridology, then you look at it, it's like, oh my God, this person has this and this is wrong and that is wrong.
mm,
And it looks with all these colors, it looks so beautiful. And then it's just problems, health problems in the
wow.
bottom.
Well, at least we can enjoy it while it lasts until we reach that state of health. So Sarah asks, urine filtration, what is it, please? So just quickly, my take is urine filtration is when your kidneys are processing lymph through through the fluid system of your body, and so your kidneys are the main organs. Your skin also does it, but to help process lymph. And when we check our urine, which is basically peeing in a glass jar and letting it sit for um, a length of time. Some people say like 12 hours or so. Then you check and see if there's any swirling or cloudiness within that. And if there's any like floating debris or cloudiness within it, it means your kidneys are filtering properly. And if it's completely clear, it's either you're extremely hydrated or your kidneys are not filtering.
Yeah, our kidneys always kind of filter, but they clogged up with all the junk that we had in our bodies and it can't really go anywhere. I would not go past 6 hours to let it sit because the
Mm,
stuff starts fermenting.
okay.
And yeah, fermentation is the same as let apple juice sit for 6 hours on the countertop.
Mm,
It starts fermenting already, and you can even smell it. Same happened with urine. When sometimes it looks cloudy, and then when you let it sit for that up to 6 hours, everything sunk to the bottom. But it can have what you said, it can have swirls in it, it can have whatever. As long as anything is in there, then yeah, you can start filtering. And at that point, you start moving your lymph. And of course, your body does that too, but you can help it along by dry brushing,
mhm,
using the rebounder,
mhm,
walking, light exercises, massage. That's great lymph massages. So you can do all these things to help it along, and then you will start feeling more energy and feeling better, and you start healing.
mhm. And just on rebounding, a great, if somebody doesn't want to purchase one of those little rebounders and you want to do some rebounding, just go out in the grass and don't jump off the ground, but just kind of like bounce up and down on your toes and just
Exactly.
get that movement going. It's a really great way to do it because people advertise these little mini trampolines, and those are great. They're going to help if you do it that way. But if you don't want to make that investment, just go outside. And I say go out on the grass because it's got a little bit more cushion for impact, because you don't want to be jumping too hard on solid ground, because that could be hurtful for the knees and such.
Yeah, and you start doing some grounding then too.
Yep.
At first, I thought that you were going to say, if you don't want to buy it, use your bed. The first thing I
Well,
was thinking of.
I guess you could do that too. I don't know how long your bed would last, but that could work. Let's see. Kathleen says, does Toni know anything about the RH factor? I have no idea what that means.
Rhesus negative, Rhesus positive, your blood. Is that what he's talking about?
I don't know. So we'll have to pass on that one. D says, is it okay to freeze the fruit juice? Yeah, there's nothing wrong with it. The best form of fruit juice is fresh squeeze. So like the moment that it is squeezed, as soon as you do that, it starts to degrade. So the longer that you wait, the more degradation happens, and you've got the less sort of what are they called? The phytonutrients and essentially light photonic light that's immersed in the juice. It starts to dissipate. Now, if you freeze it, you're going to be changing the properties of it a little bit. It's definitely not wrong by any means, but it's just not going to provide that same burst of just pure energy from God as if you're drinking it fresh. But I think it's a fantastic way to make popsicles for kids. If you're getting them onto the fruit diet, you can make a bunch of popsicles with fresh juice and say, have as many as you want. Have at it. So that's kind of my take on that.
Yeah, and even for yourself, put it in one of these ice cube trays, and then you just put a bunch in your glass, and that works great.
Yeah.
Although I don't like ice cold fruit. I always let it sit and warm it up a little.
Yeah, I still enjoy the cold fruit, but I do know that the best for our body is room temperature. The more that we introduce colder things to it,
Yeah,
the more
it doesn't come
to
cold from the tree.
Right. Yep. Yeah, it's always simple. We just have to get back to the simple answer to everything.
We like to make things complicated. It's great that we all on a journey to get away from that and learning all these things. I mean, before I got to this journey, I was like, it's worth being sick for so long to find what I have found now. It's amazing. I love it.
Yeah, me too. All right, Toni. Well, that's about an hour. So I want to honor your time, and since we do these every week, we'll have to get back to everyone next week. So if you had a question that you wanted asked this week, just make sure to email it over to me at understandingtruth@gmail.com. And I guess if you have a longer question and you want a little bit more input, you can email Toni directly. Or I don't know, what do you think would be easiest on that in general? But I'm happy to collect them and forward them to you like I've been doing.
My email is in the show notes, I think.
Yeah. So if you have a bit more context and detailed questions, it might be best to reach out to Toni. But any questions, please email it over to us, and we will answer them next week on the show. And just please put that health Q&A in the subject line. That helps me stay organized. I appreciate that. And yeah, Toni, appreciate your time. Thank you for being here. Did you have any closing comments before we leave today?
Yeah, I want to thank you, Justin. It's been a pleasure. Absolutely. I want to thank everybody for coming up with the question, because that helps all of us, including myself, to keep them coming. Yeah. And have a wonderful rest of the week. Till the next time.
Yep.